Power up your side hustle with Brother. These days, makers all over the country are turning their hobbies into lucrative side hustles. Whether it's bag making, creating personalized gifts, or designing custom clothing, crafting and sewing have been behind the launch of a number of successful small business ventures. Brother's sewing, embroidery, and crafting machines will help you make products faster, bring more flexibility to your process, and spark your creativity. Join the growing number of makers who are turning their passion for creating into profit. With Brother as your partner, taking a knack for sewing to the next level is easier than ever. Get tips and tricks, plus access to exclusive content to help you get your business up and running using a Brother machine. Learn more at www.brother-usa.com/side-hustle.
Hello, welcome to Sewing with Threads, the monthly podcast by the staff of Threads magazine. I'm your host, editorial director Sarah McFarland, and I'm joined by our senior technical editor, Carol Frazier. Hi, Carol.
Hi.
Today we're going to talk with Tabitha Sower. Tabitha Sower, and yes, that's her real name, has taken the sewing world by storm. A U.S. Air Force veteran, Tabitha turned to sewing as a creative outlet at the recommendation of her mother, and she's found her calling to create and help others create fun clothes and projects that are sure to spark a conversation. After launching her first pattern, the Lena Horn dress, in June of 2019, she started a fun and colorful button business in February 2020, and has also created 4 additional patterns in partnership with Creative Bug. Check out what she's up to on Instagram at Tabitha Sower and on her website at tabithasower.com. In this episode, we're going to talk with Tabitha about being a sewing influencer and entrepreneur. Well, welcome, Tabitha.
Hi, how is everybody?
Good. Tabitha, every new guest on Sewing with Threads, we ask them 5 questions, sort of sewing get-to-know-you questions.
Oh, gosh.
So the first one is, who taught you to sew?
My mom taught that. The short answer is my mom taught me to sew. So when I was a kid, just like most people, their mom tries to teach you how to sew. But for me, I was never interested. When I got out of the military, I was bored. So I tried to learn on my own, and I'm very impatient when it comes to my mom trying to teach me something. There is a small language barrier because she is from the Philippines. So trying to learn from her and trying to understand is very difficult still at times. So I taught myself a little bit, but majority of the time when I had issues on things, I would go to her and she would teach me. I still go to her still today.
What is your favorite sewing term or word?
My favorite? Oh, that's a hard one. I would say stitch in the ditch. Just because it's fun to say.
It is. It gives you such a visual of exactly what you're doing.
Yeah. And it rhymes. Anything that rhymes is fun. Anything that's fun, that's me.
What's your favorite type of fabric to sew?
My favorite type of fabric is cotton sateen. As you know, cotton fabric is the easiest fabric to sew. But I like the sheen that cotton sateen gives, and I like the structure that it gives to clothing. I'm not 100% huge on knit fabric. I majority sew with structural fabric, so cotton sateen is home to me. It's where I'm comfortable.
What about, this is a follow-up question, what about cotton sateen with a little bit of stretch to it?
Yeah, that's where it is. Yeah, I like that.
What are you currently sewing?
What am I not sewing? Oh my God. Just thinking about it is making me go crazy. I have so many projects at the moment. Actually, I just finished sewing a jean jacket. I just posted it recently. It's with my brother's sewing machine, the Brother Solaire, which is my dream sewing machine. I love it. And I did embroidery with that machine. You just set it and then you can just walk away. It's great.
And that machine has a really big screen, doesn't it?
Yes, It has a huge LCD screen. it's just something that I've never thought that I could have. And it just makes everything so easy. I love it.
And what do you love most about sewing?
Um, the most what I love most about sewing is the therapy that it gives. I always share my message to everyone on social media or whenever I do interviews and things. I always talk about sewing heals because when I came out of the military, I suffered from a lot of depression, anxiety, and just a lot of different mental issues after serving so long in the military. So, um, sewing was therapeutic for me. It allowed me to just keep my mind on the task at hand. When you have anxiety, you know that you have negative thinking and your thoughts are just constantly bouncing from here to there. And with sewing, it allowed me to just focus on the task at hand. And then at the end, I was able to have this huge reward that I was able to share with everyone, and it made me really happy.
Well, we're excited to talk with you about all of that
Thank
today.
you.
And I have so many questions for you.
Yeah.
And my first question kind of goes back to some foundation information. And it's just for anybody listening who isn't familiar with you, could you tell us a little bit about what you do, how you describe the work that you do?
Yeah, so I am a digital content creator. I produce digital content for major brands such as Brother International Sewing Company, um, Joann's Craft Company, Disney, a lot of major brands. And I'm lucky enough to be able to work with those people and have them see the value in my work. So that's what I currently do. And I love it. My dream job.
Oh,
Did they find you and reach out to you, or did you?
Yeah, they I when I first started this, I thought that I would have had to reach out to these brands, but I'm one of the very small lucky few that all of these brands reached out to me. I don't have time to reach out to other people because I'm working on the project at hand. So they contact me through social media or my website.
What do you think what is it about the work that you do that matches so well for them? Do you think why did they like what you do so much?
I personally think it's because it evokes happiness and joy. Like I was saying, going back to the sewing heels, it's to me it's therapeutic, but when other people see it, it brings out another emotion for them, which is like joy and happiness. So with that feeling, I think that's what a lot of companies want to bring to their customers and their audience. So I think that's why they like me.
Yeah.
What is your schedule like? How frequently do you post on different platforms?
Okay, so currently right now, I don't have a schedule. I don't have a set schedule to post. In the past, I had a schedule, but currently at the moment, I don't have a schedule. I just post when I can. There's no long pauses in between. I would say average, maybe like 5 times a week. I would say. If I can go longer, then I will, but I would say 5 times a week.
And what would you say are some hallmarks of your content? Like, what are some key elements?
I love, love color. Funny thing about that is I mostly wear black outside of work. Unless I'm going on vacation, then I'm all about wearing color. But on my social media pages, it's a lot of color. I love a lot of humor, so anything that makes people laugh. Also, education, because I have an educational background. So anything that teaches people how to do something, that and inspiration. I really like to inspire people because I like to be inspired myself. So I think that's what I share mainly on my page.
What was your teaching background, Tabitha? Could you tell
Yeah,
us?
yeah. I used to teach undergrad. I taught at two different schools. I taught business courses to undergrad students, intro to business, project management course. Uh, just I don't remember. I remember teaching like 5 to 7 different courses. Yeah.
I think, well, before we got starting recording here, you told us how old you are. So I am having a lot of trouble imagining that you accomplished all that much at your age, because it's not very high age.
Yes, so I am extremely ambitious. So yeah,
Well, so when you were in the Air Force, I'm assuming you had to wear a uniform.
I did.
So it must have been great to get out of the service and just kind of burst forward and really, embrace the color that you can have now.
Yeah, it's funny. When you're in the Air Force or the military period, those people become your family. So
Mhm.
I still keep in contact with a lot of the people that I work with, and now that they see me in this light, it's so different for them. It's like, wait, what? What are you
I'll
doing?
bet.
And then people that didn't know me in that past life, they can't imagine me being in the military, hair tied back all the time, a hat on, and my military uniform, the fatigue green color. So it's hard to see the two go together. But yeah, those are my that was my life.
I know that in addition to the sewing content, you create sewing patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you tell us a bit about those?
Yeah. So let's see. So I've always loved fashion, and I know that with sharing my content, I know a lot of people were asking if I was ever going to come out with a pattern. And to be honest, I don't have any expertise in creating the pattern and all the stuff that goes on behind there. So my part in it is I design the outfit or the dress, the pants, whatever it is. And then I actually hire out. I hired a company to create the patterns for me. And then I tested them along with other social media friends and, sending it back and forth to the company to make adjustments and then bring it back. But that's my part in it. I know a lot of people in the sewing community, they make the patterns, but I have no patience and no expertise in that matter. So hiring out it's that that's what I like to do.
Well,
It's best.
there are quite a few designers who don't make their own patterns, so you're
Yeah.
in good company there.
Okay. I know that some people don't, but I'm sure there's very few that don't make their own patterns. It's hard. I
No, I
took a
mean,
course.
yeah, yeah. I mean, people like, probably Karl Lagerfeld and,
Oh,
some of
oh
some of
yeah.
those, I don't think they make their own patterns always.
Oh no, they don't. I know that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know some of the Vogue pattern designers, Vogue borrows the garments and makes a pattern. So yeah, you are not alone in
Yeah.
that. Now you made those patterns with Creative Bug. So does that mean
Yeah.
that there are classes to go along with the patterns too?
Yes. So I did get invited to Creative Bug to film courses with them. So I created 4 patterns in collaboration with Creative Bug. And there are full step-by-step detailed videos on how to make all of or 4 of my patterns. And they did such an amazing job creating those videos. Very, very thorough, very thorough.
Mhm.
So they're
And you
for beginners as well. I would say they range for beginners to um, what's the step after beginner?
intermediate?
Intermediate. Yes,
Oh,
thank
sure.
you. So it's beginner to intermediate. I would take it slow, and if you're a beginner, I truly believe that you can do all of them. Um, each one you learn a different technique, and I feel like you shouldn't shy away from learning different techniques. I think it's great for to learn and build up your sewing skills. So I think all of these are for beginners, but I would say beginner to intermediate.
Did you base those designs specifically on sort of your understanding of how you can develop skills as you go along, or did it just happen to come out that way?
I based the design off of just I would say just things that you would wear every day, because of course on my Instagram you would see that a lot of the clothes that I make and wear, it's not everyday things. So I wanted to make sure that it's something that people could see themselves wearing, every day. And then from there I thought about skills that I would want to learn as a beginner and things that people might be afraid of learning about, such as buttons. So I decided to implement those skills into the patterns.
And each one of your patterns honors a different woman of color, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes. When I first launched in 2019, the Lena Horn pattern, I knew firsthand I wanted to celebrate women of color. I know that when pattern designers come out with their patterns, majority of them have a meaning to the names of their patterns. I know someone mentioned that their names is named after, or their pattern is named after different lakes or bodies of water. So I thought that that was really neat. So I thought long and hard about how I was going to name my patterns. So I know a lot of patterns are also named after women. So I thought that if I was going to do that, it had to be significant. So important women of color that have inspired me is the direction that I decided to go in.
Tabitha, can you take us through the patterns so far? So there's Lena Horn.
Oh my goodness, there's the Lena Horn. I don't know them by by the day that they were released, but there's the Ella blouse. I love the Ella blouse because I love all the button details down the back. There's the Nina jumpsuit, going back, the Ella blouse, which is named after Ella Fitzgerald. The Nina jumpsuit is named after Nina Simone. So that one is a wide leg jumpsuit. It's really, really cute. And you just wear it with a shirt underneath. What else? What do I have? The Billie dress, and that one is named after Billie Holiday, and that one is a really, really cool dress. I love it because you can dress it up and down, or up or down, with sneakers or with sandals and heels. Really cute. What else do I have? Oh, of course, and I would say this is secretly my favorite. Don't tell the other patterns this, but yeah, the Adelina dress is my favorite one. That one, it's a very loose fitting dress, and it has buttons on the top bodice, and the bell sleeves and the elastic on the wrist is a really cute detail. So yeah, that one's my favorite.
That sounds like a perfect style for right now. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have any pattern in the works that you'd want to mention yet?
I don't have any patterns in the works. That one, the last 4 patterns that I worked on, although I didn't do majority of the work, meaning I didn't create the pattern part of it, the technical part, it was still a lot of work. So I definitely need a break from there. So I am working on other fun projects. Besides a pattern at the moment, but I am going to release another pattern in the future. I already have it in my mind what pattern that's going to be.
Yeah.
But of course,
to ask you about your button line too.
Yes. I love buttons. The sad part about the buttons is I haven't sewn with buttons. I haven't sewn a lot with buttons when I first started sewing, mainly because I didn't know how to, and also because there weren't a lot of options in the stores. It just wasn't my style. They didn't have a lot of color options, a lot of design. Of course, I love sparkly things and glitter, so they didn't have a lot of those options. And then the quality was kind of not my standards, so I just decided not to sew with them. And then I think it was 2018, for a year, I was just trying different things, trying to figure out how to make them, just trying all different types of ways in which to make these buttons. And after a year, I finally figured it out, me and my husband. And so 2019, 2019 is when, is it 2019? The years just go by so fast. 2019 was when I launched, and the launch was very well received. I'm really thankful for the amazing sewing community. They're so supportive, and I'm so grateful for the community. So it launched pretty well, and I can't necessarily say, I would say maybe I'm in 20 brick and mortar stores at the moment. And I'm still building, so I'm still looking for other stores that want to carry my buttons. But I launched with a lot of colorful, fun options, of course, a lot of glitter options. And I also launched a boho line for those that aren't really into the bright colors. So I did launch that as well. And so I have something for everybody.
I think it's wonderful that you're launching a button line, because Carol and the rest of the staff, we've all noticed that button options, at least at Joann, seem to be dwindling.
Yeah, it's I don't know what it is. And then they're so thin. They're so thin and they break so easily. And so
And when we try to order them online, it's just sometimes there's loads of selections online, but you can't make your way through it. If you go to one of the online button stores, there's so many that you can't even.
Yeah, it's funny that
tell.
you mentioned that. It's extremely overwhelming if you have a lot of stock. So me and my assistant were talking about that maybe like a month ago. So we're starting to build up the inventory. There's so much on our website. And so we found a really good way to bring down the quantity. So what we're doing is grouping different ones together. So all the rainbow colors, just very simple rainbow colors without the glitter, those are grouped together. All the wooden options are grouped together. All of the just the different ones can be grouped together. So that way, when you go onto the website, it's very simple to look at, and you can just click on the group that you want, and then from there, there's the different options. But yeah, we understand that it is very overwhelming because buttons, I mean, there's so many different options.
Yeah.
Do
you have any other notions or products in the works?
Yes. Well, nothing that we are designing or anything, but I do want to start selling thread. I am obsessed with this thread that I have in my office. It's Metler thread. I don't know if you heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm obsessed. I really, really love the Seraflex. That to me is genius. So I don't know if you heard of that, but so I want to sell that.
I wanted to ask you about your creating space, because I watch your content and I see the behind the scenes photos. It's a very nice space.
Thank you.
You have it looks maybe like a warehouse type space, because there's a big roll down door.
So it is a warehouse. When I went to go look for my office, we did look at several different options, but I knew firsthand that I wanted something with high ceilings. I had to have that just because where my office was before, I did have, I think, 9-foot ceilings in the basement of my home. And that still wasn't high enough with the filming that I was trying to do. So I figured that if I was going to go look for a place, that it had to have high ceilings. So the warehouse is what worked for us.
I've seen a shot that it's like pulled back from your setup. So it looks like you have a phone, several tablets, maybe also a camera.
Oh, yeah. So I have different areas in the warehouse. So it's open concept. I did have the option to close it in, but we just left it open because we just wanted to work collaboratively in here. So the space that you're talking about is the film and photography area. I do have several cameras. I do have, a lot of equipment in there. And that's where I mainly do filming. But I do, the way that everything is set up here, I can film here where I am. I'm currently filming across from my office in my living room area. And I can also film in what we like to call the button shop. We can also film in there. It's just the way that I set it up. I set it up to where everything can be a backdrop. And yeah, so that's how it's set up.
Yeah. And where did you educate yourself about lighting and different equipment that you would need to do this?
So I've been doing this since 2012. I've been filming, trying to do YouTube and stuff like that. So as I progressed and I learned along the way, I picked up things from other YouTubers, Instagrammers, now TikTok. I'm always learning, always. I also learned when I went to Creative Bug, I saw the different equipment there. I'm always asking questions. I'm never not learning. I'm always very intrigued and I'm always researching. So
when you're going to do a video, do you actually write a whole script and memorize it, or?
Oh, no. So I do write my script. I am really poor at memorization. I can't do that. So I do have a teleprompter. So it looks like I'm not reading, but I am.
Well, I'm asking you this because Carrie, who's behind the scenes right now on this podcast, also works with us when we do videos, and we're all really terrible at memorizing, even one line. We have to do
really
take
bad.
after take. So when I see somebody who has a polished presentation, I always wonder what their secret is.
Yeah, teleprompter it is.
Okay.
Even when I'm doing audio over on top of my videos, I'm always messing up. Even if I'm reading. So I mean, there's going to be mess ups either way, but the easiest way is to write out the script beforehand.
Yeah. Do you do the editing yourself?
Yes, I edit all of my videos. I was swamped at one point. At the end of last year, I had to produce, I don't even know how many videos, I would say around 8 videos, in a certain time span. So I did have to hire out for someone to help me with editing the videos, because I had to shoot every week. And then while I was filming, somebody else was editing so that we can just keep the train going. So right now, currently, I am editing, filming everything myself. I have a good time span in which to turn these things in. So I gave myself enough space to be able to film and edit. So I'm good.
Yeah. Well, the videos always end up looking effortless and fun and interesting. And I think most people don't know how much work goes into getting that to happen.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work, It's just the job of a lot of people. When you go to production companies like Creative Bug, you'll see how many people have their hand in creating the one video. So then when you come home and then you do it yourself, it's like, dang, I need all of those people. Because there's the talent, which is me. The film, I film with about 3 to 4 cameras at one time. So it's like moving all these cameras constantly. I'm the script writer. I color grade all of my videos. I am the audio person. I mean, I can go on and on. I'm the makeup artist, the stylist. It goes on. There's so much involved in a video. So much.
Yeah. That's funny because you have essays up at the Brother site talking about developing sewing as a side hustle. Yes. And in one of your articles, you talked about, wearing so many hats when you started doing this. And I wanted to ask you, which one of those roles was surprisingly difficult to you? And if there was a role that you found that you were unfamiliar with, but you really took to, that was kind of maybe surprisingly easy.
Unfamiliar with? I guess just in social media in general. That's hard. Let me come back to that one because
Oh,
they're
sure.
all very, oh no, they were, I would say this, they were all something that I had to learn. Like when I first started social media, I started out learning how to sew, and my journey was you watching me learn to sew. That's how it started. So throughout this whole journey, I'm always learning something. So I learned how to sew. I learned how to film my videos. I did photography before I did social media, so I kind of knew what I was doing there. But I was still learning. There's so much to learn when it comes to photography. So I'm still actually learning different techniques when it comes to photography, and I love cameras, so I'm always buying new cameras and lenses. So I mean, you have to learn those things as well. Setup, backdrop setup. What do you call it?
Seamless.
No.
Oh, is that set decoration?
Studio set design.
Set design.
Learning how to do that. What looks good on camera. There's as far as something that I was unfamiliar with. I would say everything, because everything along the way I was learning, and then as you continue to do it more and more, as you're consistent with it, you become better at it, and things become easier.
In another one of your posts on the Brother website, you talk about the importance of networking.
Yeah, networking is so important when it comes to social media. It's funny because I get that question a lot. How do you work with brands? How do you do this? How do you do that? Networking is really, really important. It's number one when it comes to social media. I know there's a lot of people that are shy when it comes to social media, but social media means you have to be social. So you have to go out there and talk to people. You have to meet people, because if you don't, how do you expect to grow? How do you expect to meet people that you need to know to grow? So also when it comes to networking, as I grew, I learned that networking is good when it's genuine, because a lot of people will, how do you say, they know the benefit of being around you, if you have a lot of advances or a lot of resources, so they'll connect themselves to you. So if you are looking to build that relationship with that person, just make sure that you're genuine, and build that trust with that person. For me, when I was coming up, I remember I had maybe 20,000 followers at the time, and a lot of my friends had 6-figure followers, and I never asked them for anything. I was just extremely supportive. Anything they wanted, anything they needed, wanted to ask me, I would answer. I was always there, and in time, they realized I wasn't seeking anything from them, so they started to be there for me when I needed it. One of those people introduced me to Joanne, which is ultimate dream come true brand to work with. So you just never know what can come out of different networking relationships. Don't go into it expecting anything. Just be genuine, and just support because you genuinely like their work, not because you want something from that person.
Oh, that's great advice.
That is.
Tabitha, I can't believe our time has gone by so quickly.
Yeah.
But I have one final question for you. And
Okay.
that is, what's the single most important quality you think somebody needs to build a creative business like yours?
The single most important quality is, I would say, there's so many. I would say being consistent. It's hard to be consistent when you don't see the results right away, or if you've been doing it for years and years. I remember doing this for 6 years and not getting anything from any brand. No, no email, no communication whatsoever, but I kept going because I truly loved sewing and I just wanted to just share. I didn't want anything to come out of this. I just wanted to share sewing. And because I was consistent and I kept going without any thought of how this could, or any thought of what I wanted in the future, even though I knew I did want to become a content creator, but I didn't let that stop me. I just kept going, and eventually your time will come. You will eventually have what your ultimate goal is, if you're consistent with what you want to do with your platform.
Yes, yes. You are living proof that if you are
Yeah.
authentic and genuine and you keep at it, the
Thank you.
brands, they've been coming to you. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Just be a good person, be genuine, be kind. And that right there is a magnet to success and all the good things. So I would say, yeah, be a good person, be kind, be consistent, and be good at what you do.
Oh, excellent advice. Well, Tabitha, thank you so much for being on Sewing with Threads. It was really fun to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really had so much fun talking to you guys. I appreciate you guys having me here.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
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 Thank you for listening. Follow Threads on social media and visit threadsmagazine.com to view show notes for this episode. While you're on the site, check out Threads Insider, our online membership with exclusive access to expert sewing techniques. Until next time, keep on sewing with Threads.